This is Sasha the Diva, and I have this fantastic attorney. Hello, darling.
Hi.
Say your last name.
Kessler.
Kessler, attorney at law. You practice family law?
That's all we do.
Okay. This is what we're going to talk about today, because I'm just telling you what happened in my circle. I'm shaking over here, right? Someone told me that after all these years, she was married.
Happens.
She knew that this was not her child. I want to know why we cannot have DNA testing as soon as a child hits this world. Let's talk about this. This happens a lot.
It happens in rich people's houses, poor people's houses, all across America. It happens every day.
And the percentage of people where this
if you go to get tested, the percentage of people that go to check if they are the father, 25% find out they're not the father.
25%.
That's
That is high
American Association of
numbers.
Blood Banks. That's high, but those are people that already have some reason to go check. But still, a quarter of them, that's a lot.
A quarter of the people. Is it really hard to get a law passed like that, that once a child comes in this world, that DNA?
You know, where there's a will, there's a way. And it takes somebody motivated. And I told you before, we represented this guy named Randall Smith, who is sort of the poster child for this issue. He lost his case in court, and he went to the U.S. Supreme Court. And eventually he got a law passed that says now if you find out that you're not the father years later, you can go back and you can get off the hook and you can sever the relationship. It doesn't happen in every state, but that's a little bit easier than saying when mom has a kid, right then and there she's got to take a test. I think it should happen. I'm a fan of the truth coming out better sooner than later, and then they can deal with it.
Because it affects the children.
If I'm not the father, I still might love you and love your kid and say, I signed on this. But at least I know what I'm doing. It's not a trick.
Do you know what this does to the children? You're not thinking about that. And if you're in this situation, you need to really clear up the situation. But so now Georgia law has changed, because prior to that, you would still be responsible financially.
Well, if you had a really good lawyer and you made a really creative argument and asked the judge to throw out the original judgment, there was a way to do it, but it was very, very hard. It was an uphill battle. Now it's not an uphill battle. If you prove that you didn't know and you took a test and you act quickly within 90 days, the judge has to let you off the hook. That's the new law. Well, new, it's about 7 years old now.
So now maybe there's a man in this situation. He's questioning some things. Maybe something has just popped up and he's trying to figure out, okay, is this my kid or not? Right. What does he need to do if he is not like living in the household with the child and he wants to find out?
He needs to go to CVS or a drugstore and get a test. There's a kit.
Hold tight. Are you telling me we can just go to a regular drugstore?
Right off the drugstore counter.
I did not know that.
$300, $400. They need their saliva and the child's saliva, and get this, they don't need mom's saliva to prove that they're not the father. So if I get my saliva and the child's saliva, some spit or a hair follicle, package it up, send it off in the mail, and they can tell me 100% chance that I'm not the father.
Are you telling me that the kid in the CVS store is good like that?
And whether the court accepts it or not, at least if you get the CVS results back,
you know.
You can go to court and say, if she wants another test, let's take another test.
And then once he has that information, then should he contact an attorney?
I think so.
Okay. Because going in front of a judge, I mean, look, guys, that's really tough. And if you don't know the laws, you really need somebody to represent.
Right. Even if you don't hire a lawyer, get some advice. Talk to a lawyer and say, what is it going to take? Is it easy to go to court? Is it hard? Is it expensive? I think knowledge is power. I'd rather you learn a little bit about it and then make a decision instead of me just telling you now, nah, you don't need a lawyer. You know, the ounce of prevention is always worth the pound of cure.
So then if it comes back that way, would she have to pay back the child support?
We've had cases where that's happened, yes.
Wow.
That's an extreme measure. It very, very rarely happens. Usually it's just going forward because the money's been spent. But if a judge is upset, the judge can order that.
Guys, his name is Randall Kessler, attorney at law. What's your website address?
KSFamilyLaw.com, like King Solomon, KSFamilyLaw.com.
And what's the phone number? Because you might need to be calling him right now.
It's 404-688-8810. We're happy to talk to you.
And they cover all family law. See you guys.